second week of reading this half term. It should hopefully be our last week of reading where we do it as home learning. So that's really exciting. And we are going to be continuing with our book, Escape from Pompeii. So pause me quickly and just try and recap in your head what happened last week in the 4 pages we read. Okay, welcome back. So you should have remembered that last week we met Tranio, who lived in Pompeii. He remembers that Pompeii had a gentle mountain, he calls it, which was looming over it, which we know as the volcano Vesuvius. And Tranio had a friend called Livia who he would play games with, such as Knucklebones. So let's find out more about their story this week. So we have 8 new vocabulary words, so let's go through the vocabulary for this week together. Okay, so our first word this week is blazed. My turn, your turn. Blazed. Blazed. Great, so blazed is a verb and it means to burn brightly and strongly. So for example, you might say the sun blazed, or the sun was blazing down on us, and it would mean the sun was really hot and powerful. So our action for blazed is going to be blazed. Blazed. Excellent, make sure you're practicing the action. Blazed. Excellent, well done. Our second word this week is bobbing. Bobbing. So bobbing is also a verb, and it means to make a quick or jerky movement up and down. So you might have heard of a ship bobbing on the waves, or somebody bobbing up and down. So obviously if you bobbed up and down, it'd be something like this. But for our action, we're just going to use our hands and do bobbing. Bobbing. Very good actions, well done. Our next word is strutting. Strutting. So strutting is a verb, and it means to walk in a proud way, trying to look important. So you might have heard of models strutting down the catwalk. You might have heard of somebody strutting into a room in perhaps a bit of an angry or arrogant way. So it means that somebody's usually walking to display power. So it's a bit hard for me to model this one because I don't have much room, but you're going to put your hands on your hips and you're going to walk in kind of a sassy, strutting way. So strutting. Okay, try your best with that one. It's quite hard for me to model it, but that one is strutting. Our next word is frantically. Frantically. So frantically is an adverb, and it means that something is done in a hurried way and in a state of excitement or confusion. So if you're frantically doing something, you're usually doing it in quite a hurried way. You might be a little bit anxious about something, so you're a bit frantic searching. You might be frantically searching for your keys if you had got home and you couldn't find them. So for frantic, we're going to have the action of frantic. Frantic. Excellent, well done. Our next word is choppy. Choppy. So choppy is an adjective, and it's used to describe a body of water. So that a body of water is any type of water. So for example, the sea, a lake, a river, a pond. So it's used to describe a body of water full of short, rough waves. So obviously it would usually be used to describe the sea. So a fisherman might decide, I'm not going out today, the sea looks a little bit choppy. So for choppy, we're going to pretend we're a big wave going like this, okay? So choppy. Choppy. Excellent, well done. So let's just recap some of the ones we've done so far. So show me the action for blazed. Yep, well done. Blazed is that, giving off a big burst of light, because it means to burn brightly and strongly. And show me strutting. Well done. So strutting, you might put your hands on your hips and walk in a very kind of sassy, important way. Excellent. Okay, let's continue. Our next word this week is fastened. Fastened. So fastened is a verb, and it means to join or attach firmly to something else or in place. So when it was cold, you might have fastened up your coat. You might have fastened up your belt this morning if you're wearing a belt today. So our action for fastened, we're going to pretend we're fastening up a belt. So fastened. Fastened. And obviously it might be a belt that you wear, or you might fasten up your seatbelt. Our next word is flushed. Flushed. Now, in this context, flushed is an adjective because we're going to be describing somebody's face or skin. But obviously, flush can be a verb if you were saying, I flushed the toilet or something like that. But in this case, it's an adjective. And it means a red colour or glow in the face or skin. So for our action for flush, we're going to say flushed. Flushed. Excellent. I really like your actions. So you might say somebody looked flushed when they're perhaps a little bit ill. If you get really hot in the face, somebody might look flushed. Or if you're embarrassed, you might look flushed. So if you go a bit red in the face, you might say, oh, she was flushed because somebody told her secret. And our last word is quivered. 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 Well done. So quivered is a verb and it means to shake with very small, quick movements. So quivered, you might just shake yourself for the action, okay? So quivered. Quivered. And you might quiver in fright. So if you're frightened, you might quiver. Or also in this context, we'd maybe talking about the ground quivering if there had been an earthquake or a volcanic eruption or something like that. Okay, I am going to say a word and I'd like you to show me the action. So my first word is fastened. Well done. So fastened, fastening up your seatbelt or a belt that you might be wearing around some jeans. Next word is bobbing. Bobbing. Yes, well done. So bobbing is to make a quick or jerky movement up and down. So you might decide to do some bobbing up and down or use our action with our hands of bobbing. My next one for you is quivered. Quivered. Yes, well done. So you're quivering, making little shaky movements, very small, quick movements, and it's probably showing, if somebody's quivering, it's usually showing that they are scared. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple of actions and I'd like you to tell me which word I'm demonstrating. So my first action is, yes, well done, it is blazed, fantastic. And my other action is going to be, well done, flushed. So maybe I'm blushing a bit because something just happened to me. Or maybe I'm not feeling very well. Okay, excellent, well done. Let's go back to our slides. So we've had a look at our key vocabulary for this week. If you'd like to go through it again, obviously you can just rewind the video before we move on to our vocabulary activity. So the first part of your sheet is the same as always. You have the 8 pieces of vocabulary and you just need to match them up to their definitions. So for example, my first one is the definition is to burn brightly and strongly. So I remember that we did the action of kind of the sun for that one, and it was blazed. Because if something is blazing, it's burning brightly and strongly. So we often use it to describe the sun. Okay, so you've got 7 other ones to do there. Pause me now and complete these and then come back for the answers. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at the answers. So our first word was blazed, as we said, which means to burn brightly and strongly. Next definition we had was to make a quick or jerky movement up and down, so that is bobbing. Number 3 was to walk in a proud way, trying to look important, so that's strutting. Number 4 was when something is done in a hurried way and in a state of excitement or confusion, so that's frantically, such as frantically searching for something that you've lost. The next one was choppy. So choppy is used to describe a body of water full of short, rough waves. Number 6 was fastened, which is to join or attach firmly to something else or in place. So obviously, yes, you might be clipping up a seatbelt or you might be doing up a jacket, but you also might be fastening a badge to your jacket or coat or something like that. Or you might be fastening something onto your art project. Number 7 was flushed, which is a red colour or glow in the face or skin. And our final one, number 8, the definition was to shake with very small, quick movements, and that is quivered. Well done. So quickly read through the words and definitions again before we move on to our sentences. Okay, let's take a look at our sentences for this week. So you've either have these sentences on your sheet, so you just need to fill out the missing word, or if you don't have the sheet, that's absolutely no problem at all. You just need to copy the sentences down. So we should be really used to this by now, and we should all have techniques that we use to find the correct words to go into the sentences. Let's just have a look at the first one together. So the policeman, something, the badge to his uniform. Okay, so I remember from just doing the actions then that there was one action which we did where we fastened our seat belts. But as I just said, that sometimes we might also be fastening something to us, such as a badge. So let me put the word fastened into the sentence, and I'm going to read it again and make sure it makes sense. The policeman fastened the badge to his uniform. Yeah, that does make sense. I'm happy with that. I remembered that fastening something means to join or attach firmly to something else or in place. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so your first one is fastened. So you've got 3 more on this slide, and then when you've completed these, click forward to the next ones and then to the answers. Okay, I'm going to move forward to the next set of questions now. Okay, welcome back everybody. It's time to go through the answers now. So make sure that you've completed numbers 2 to 8, and we will see if you are correct. So our first 4, we've done number 1. Number 2 was the little raft began bobbing on the waves. So as we said, bobbing is to make a quick or jerky movement up or down. So you can imagine a raft, which is often quite a small, perhaps made out of logs or some other material like that, bobbing up and down on the waves. Number 3 is his hand quivered as he nervously picked up the pen to start his exam. So as I said, quivered is usually an action that your body might make if you're nervous or anxious. So that one makes sense for that sentence. Number 4 is the child began frantically running around after eating far too much sugar. So frantically, of course, means when something's done in a hurried way or in a state of excitement. So obviously, if a child eats a lot of sugar, they usually get very excited. So they're moving around quickly and in a bit of a frantic way. Okay, so mark those ones and let's have a look at 5 to 8. So number 5 was the sun blazed in the afternoon sky. Number 6, the sea was incredibly choppy after the storm the night before. So if you remember, we said that choppy, it's used to describe water which is full of short, rough waves. Obviously, if the sea if there's been a storm the night before, the sea is likely to be quite choppy with waves. Number 7 was that she was strutting down the hallway, showing off her new dress. So as I said, models are usually described as strutting down the catwalk. So if you're showing off, you're proud, you're trying to walk proudly. If you're strutting, you're quite confident. So that one fits perfectly for that sentence. And number 8, fever flushed his cheeks and he looked hot and bothered. So obviously if your face is flushed, it has a red colour. Okay, well done for today, guys. So make sure you've marked your answers and corrected any that you got wrong. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow to do our literal questions. Goodbye.